one thing to understand about sociosexual dynamics and really life in general is that the stimuli is neutral. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the things that you experience, a lot of the things that you believe, a lot of the things that you feel are neutral. And sometimes even the feelings themselves are neutral. They're subject to how your social programming interprets things, right? You know, that's one aspect of why being able to clearly communicate is something that's so important. But something also to understand is this. You know, when I talk about toxicity, you know, there's toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, right? But when I'm talking about it in a spectrum of saying, you know, every man should be a certain level of toxic, that's coming from a perspective of understanding that in the eyes of society today, as we see things, with the basis that everything should be 100% equal, and two people should have the same exact mindset before they enter into a relationship, right? Or that they should have the same exact mindset and then discuss things from a neutral standpoint, decide what they're going to be or what they're going to do. What you got to understand about that is that to not succumb to that is to be toxic. So if you say no, as a man, you want to be a leader. When you say no, as a man, you got your own program, your own life, your own way to do things. When you say no, as a man, you're not going to, you know, allow society to shame you and guilt you into respecting points of view that you feel that aren't respectable. You know, as a man, it's having backbone. But in the eyes of society, part of that is seen as toxic masculinity. What you got to think is that there's moral, amoral, immoral toxicity, right? You know, those things have spectrums. But you always have to understand that stimuli is neutral. So what's more important than the stimuli oftentimes is the internal narratives that you have about the relationship and the internal narratives that the woman you're dealing with has about the relationship and how she thinks things should be. And whether or not you properly prepare her for the positions that she's going to be in, whether or not you properly prepare her for things that come with your program. Because there are different positions you may be in life to where certain things are necessary to know how to deal with. And if she don't respect you enough to be receptive to those things, then she don't need to be past a certain point, because either that or you need to, you know, lower your standards. But you got to understand, if you do that after you meet a woman, her respect is going to go down for you. So part of being toxic, yes, they say it's toxic to have a my way or the highway mentality. Well, you can have a my way or the highway mentality, and you can actually do that without being selfish. You can do that without being someone who's harmful, right? Like, my way or the highway can more so mean, okay, cool, well, I know that when you get emotional, you make plans or you make decisions that only benefit you and don't even benefit you in the long term. But for me, you do things my way, I'll listen to things you got to say. We'll see how to integrate those things into a plan, add some structure to it, make sure that everybody good. So from that perspective, your my way or the highway mentality is not something that's actually toxic, right? See, you got to understand that there's different things that come with stuff. And oftentimes, when you understand nature, then you understand the necessity of toxicity, right? Because when you understand nature, you understand that oftentimes for a woman, being overly compromising as a man is something that can turn her off because she feels you don't have backbone. So this whole time that you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and people's psychological terms and what people think they say that they learned in therapy, you're just subjecting yourself to things that will denigrate and start to erode your masculinity. You know, there's a lot of things that can be seen as fucked up just from the outside looking in, and a lot of those things are fucked up. But when you look at the mindset behind those things or the psychology behind it, if you could take away that emotional social programming type of lens that you put on top of it, and you merely look at the circumstances and say, okay, cool, was it effective or not effective? And you take the emotion out of it. That's a little bit Machiavellianism, right? Like, what is usually seen as toxic men? You got narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. So Machiavellianism is just about what works. Now, you can be as honest and realistic to who you are as a that doesn't mean that you got to be fake. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to disguise who you are. You just got to know what size of yourself to show, in what order, and in what way, in what timing. And set that timing and know for yourself how you're trying to do that. Because the thing to think about is this. Like, here's one example. And this is a crazy example, right? And just talk about some shit that's toxic. I remember I was watching this thing. Ike Turner was doing an interview talking about his biography that he wrote, his autobiography he wrote about his time with Tina Turner. And he would say that she'll be walking around 2-3 days straight with a lip poked out. He'd be like, "You all right? What's up? What's going on?" And she'll say, "Nothing. I'm fine." And on the third day, he'll just smack her. And then she'll cry. And then he'll fix it. And then she'll be good again. That's fucked up. I don't advocate putting your hands on women. I don't advocate for that. But there's a certain principle in that to understand. One, you shouldn't deal with a woman who don't respect you enough anyways, or who has to fear you instead of respecting you, right? And another thing is this, but another thing you can learn from that is this. When you're already in a relationship, because some people are prematurely integrated and they married and shit, or some people are already in long-term relationships and they just need to clean some stuff up, but they feel like they got a good situation. Some of the things you got to do to correct and fix the masculine-feminine dynamic is going to work on a basis of understanding that woman's social programming is not going to be down for every single thing that you're down for ahead of time. And shit can get murky like that. Some of the things that it's going to take to fix the dynamic of women be things that on the front of her mind don't seem like a priority to her. But you got to see why they're a priority. You got to see why they're important. Like, because if a woman has a certain mindset that there's a certain value system she places on things, oftentimes she's not going to see the importance of establishing certain things. Like if you're dealing with a Topanga, or if you're dealing with a woman who sees herself as a good girl or a nice girl, or she's like a people pleaser, what you got to understand sometimes is that she's going to see not being sexual as the peak of what it means to be a good person. Like, no, relationship is not about sex. And then overlook the importance of establishing that aspect of your dynamic. Now, if she ends up experiencing some let that hurt go pussy later on, and then throws your ass to the side, who's going to be mad? You're going to be mad. Now, if you get down the line, and then y'all got to have irreconcilable differences type of situations, or y'all never been able to make love and make up, or you know that for both of you, part of the reason why you cool with breaking up is because y'all not sexually satisfied. If you know that on you, that's on you as a man. It's part of your leadership skills. But part of that is you got to be willing to walk away, or have the ability and the experience and the comfort level and what level of sexual attraction you're willing to work on, that the one that you're willing to become an expert at, right? So that you can bypass that social mask. See, bypassing the social mask in the first place is inherently viewed as toxic, because people have ways that they identify, ways that they view themselves, right? And sometimes those things are defense mechanisms. Sometimes those things are based on the circumstances. Sometimes it's based on who they're talking to. And a person has a right to choose to go back and forth between whichever one they have based off of what they think is going to give them the best outcome. But the thing to understand is that your job is to be able to sort through the BS, see what's real, and put what you want first. And make sure that you're attracted for that, and that you know what to do with what that is. It's necessary. There's a lot of things that can be viewed as toxic. That they do have their means, they do have their ways of working. It's just you don't go overboard with the shit. Just don't go overboard with the shit. Like there's one for women too. It's like, let's say a woman is in a position where where she has a man who she wants to follow, but he's just not stepping up into his masculine dominant energy like that. If she's a damsel in distress, that man will come get her. Just don't overdo it. Like, don't overdo that shit to the point where you're just being like on some narcissistic shit, you know, without any good intentions behind it. You're just trying to get some attention because you feel like you're busy. That's different. It's different of doing that instead of you could feel that he's starting to pull away some, and maybe part of it is because he don't feel like he's providing enough to you in some type of way. In those moments, you play the damsel in distress. Shit, you'll tire go flat. You hit him up. After you hit him up, say your tire went flat, and if your tire flat, he say you're on his way. You go ahead and flatten it if you have a spare in the back. Then let him come fix it for you. Or you gotta open a jar of pickles or some shit like that, right? Or you need to carry something heavy in the house, right? Now do that with a man you fucking. If you're not fucking a dude, then that's just leading somebody on. But when you give a man an opportunity to do something for you to feel needed, some dudes, they beyond that. But just on some real shit in a relationship, that's something that rises up, you know, his masculine energy. Some people can say that's toxic, right? Because what's toxic femininity? See, toxic femininity is hypo-agency. It's a victim mentality. But at the top of that part of that victim mentality is a damsel in distress. You ain't got to overdo that shit, but just recognize times that you can find opportunities to where it would make your life easier by something that takes strength to do. And simply by doing things like that in a way that, you know, makes a man look or feel masculine with you, then you can use those different types of methods and strategies to, you know, make a man feel more masculine around you, you know, more dominant around you. So that's like some prematurely integrated relationship shit. Because believe it or not, there are some women who come to the place of desiring to be feminine and submissive when they just have a man who's feminine and dominant. And they finally get to that place where they're like, you know what? I do want to know what it's like to be feminine and submissive. Or they experience let that hurt go pussy or some shit like that. They fuck with some new dude and they had that experience. And they're like, you know what? I experienced what it's like to be emotional and in my feminine. And the dude giving me guidance and some good dick. And they start having those experiences. And they're like, you know what? That's the way I want to be in a relationship. And then she remembers her, you know, her ex or her baby daddy or whatever it is, or a guy who she always loved. And then she realized, you know what, that's, you know, that masculine feminine dynamic, that dom sub dynamic really was what was missing in our relationship. She started realizing, you know what, damn, I was, you know, in our relationship, the reason why this next one went well to a certain extent was because I was doing the things there that I wasn't doing with him. I'm attracted to him, so there's no reason I couldn't be. I wasn't at that place. Sometimes you get an opportunity to let that sexual energy grow. Here's some more toxic shit. If the man feels some type of competition, but he knows that you prefer him, if he's still a certain level of emotional, then that man is going to compete sexually. And actually, all these things are things you can do for yourself. Like, one thing is this, it's like pleasure denial, like ghosting or the silent treatment, whatever it is. Some people say that's so childish, but the truth is this, you know, what you got to think about is this. Some people are going to deal with you. When somebody's feminine, they're going to deal with you based off of how strong they feel you are, based off of how much they respect and desire you. If you really want to break down what respect and desire is, desire comes from pleasure. Respect comes from validation. If you're giving way too much validation at a time, especially if a woman's not secure enough to handle that sometimes, then it starts to create this effect to where she starts to build up a wall against that validation. And then it starts to feel like it has the reverse effect that you desire it to have. Right? Because if her cup is low, and she not being feminine and submissive with you when you pouring all that validation into her cup, then she's going to start to see you as a beta male. All right, and that's where the Delilah trap comes in sometimes. And what you got to understand in those type of situations is this. Like, when you in that type of situation, she may start being acting funny with you, acting weird. Energy may be getting off. If you keep going on with the conversation and trying to communicate after disrespect, then you're giving more energy, more validation. Whether what you say is nice or mean, you're giving more energy to the disrespect. And then in her mind, it's going to say, okay, well, that's how I get the validation, the energy. It's just to be difficult. So arguing about it is not going to help. Especially if you communicate, you say something's an issue one time, then she still got an issue. Keep going back and forth ain't going to help the situation. Everything ain't necessary to walk away from a woman about and just to leave her. Or your ass going to be alone for a long time. Not that there's anything wrong with being alone, but unnecessarily over shit if you learn some conflict resolution. You know, sometimes that whole idea is more so about pleasure denial. Sometimes you gotta build up your appetite before you eat so that you don't have a repulsive reaction to what you're getting, and so that you can enjoy it more when you get it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if a woman respects you enough, and if she respects and desires you enough, then when her cup gets full, she wants to pour that back into you. She wants to pour that back out. But if she loses respect for you, for how you go about filling her cup, then when it gets full, now she's full. You get what I'm saying? Now she's full. And what happens when you eat and you get full? You lose interest. So do you think that you're going to, like, a lot of those issues that people have in relationships that lead to irreconcilable differences, a lot of times that shit really be coming from having this mindset of wanting everything to be about communication and equality. When one person is going to be more emotional and feminine than the other person a lot of times, or one person is going to have a structure or a program or something going on, that a vision that they're trying to go towards. So you think that the way to fix, you know, a lot of things that people think are big issues, a lot of times are just that at the moment that they have those conversations, the desire and respect levels is going down. So something that a woman could agree to at one time would be something that she'll feel some type of way about it at another time, and it's best not to have those conversations or to deal with any type of conflict when she's in those places, because the shit's just going to go left. It's just going to turn into an argument. Now, it depends on what type of toxicity you have, right? And what type do you have that she's receptive to. So sometimes what you can do in those situations is there's a few different ways that those type of situations are corrected. Now, if part of what she's really attracted to about is your mind, then knowing how to cut through the bullshit will work. But if she had a real big ego, that's not going to work. The logic is going to make y'all be talking two different languages, and it's going to sound like you're begging because you're trying to explain the shit. But another way that type of thing can work is if you get a little aggressive. Now, you can't go overboard with that, because if you go overboard with that, like if you go overboard with the explaining the shit, then either it's going to feel like you're begging, or a woman is going to take it as you trying to gaslight her and validate her feelings. See, part of the good part about toxic masculinity is certain feelings do need to be invalidated. Real shit. If you pamper everything as if it's valid, then you find yourself in these situations to where you're being gaslit yourself by trying to believe that everything that a woman wants to do is a matter of your security. Instead of certain things are appropriate and certain things are inappropriate, and certain things are real and certain things are fake. And if you can't stand on that as a man without having to bend on that, then you don't have a solid enough structure for yourself and your own beliefs and your own mindset for that woman to really respect that, to want to be submissive with that. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Sometimes a woman will pretend to be feminine by acting like she's down for anything, and really she already got her mind made up about what she wants. And she's just hoping that you'll figure out the right thing. And really, that's a lot of what a shit test is. But she's going to take what you say on the surface as what you feel, regardless of what you say. Because she's a woman, so her words and actions not 100% lining up with how she feels all the time is to be expected. But as a man, your words and your actions ain't lining up. You're not somebody who's respectable enough to be followed. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to the toxicity, it's like if you go overboard with that, she would say you're invalidating her feelings, you're trying to brainwash her, or whatever it is, you gaslighting her. So in those moments with the social program, you kind of you got to back off. That's why the ghost would just say, I'm going to talk to you later, to say you don't feel like talking. Or why the what they call stonewall or whatever that shit is that they be saying is so damn toxic. A lot of times women feel entitled to having an emotional response from a man. But oftentimes it's like the Delilah effect, right? Or like the parable of the house in the storm. If she can get an emotional reaction from you, forcefully or in a manipulated way, then she can lose respect with you, which will make it easier to walk away if she already puts you in like a gigolo type of role or some shit like that. So what you gotta understand about that shit is this: you got the aggression, and that can work, but it has to be connected to sexuality in some way. So you got to put a certain level of that dom game down. Another way that's toxic is this: is not having a mindset to where outside of the bedroom you're 100% equals, but just in the bedroom you role play dom sub dynamics. It's like, no, that's a real part of your relationship. And that's a real part of it. You have to be extra responsible, and she still has to have a certain level of life of her own and enough security within herself and self-love to be able to not get down with shit she's not down for. But really, you got to measure how down she is for you for what she's down for. Because this stuff can permeate outside of it, and that's another thing that can be seen as toxic. Then there's the aggression, right? And you can't go overboard with that, because then you'll start stepping over into the abusive zone. But there are certain things that you can do that when your sexual dynamic is right, your masculine, feminine, dom sub dynamic is right, you could trigger a response that'll bring her back to her feminine energy. And if you know how to finesse it from there, you're good. There's going directly sexual, which can be to give or to take away. But as long as it gets her back in her feminine energy, remember what she said, actually think about what the issue was, come up with a solution to solve the problem. Not just sweep it under a rug, but just know that unless your energy dynamic is right, y'all not going to be able to really communicate anyways. It's not going to work. So that's where it or that feminine emotional desire to cling to. And when a woman's in her masculine energy, she in her social programming, she's trying to make herself the masculine structure that she clings to. When oftentimes, even if she's a feminine, like a feminist, it's like, well, I don't want to cling to the masculine structure of anything from a place of insecurity and fear. Her inner femininity is still searching for that strong masculine structure to cling to. So dudes who enter into those type of relationships and marriages with women who aren't, feminine and submissive with them, they put themselves in a situation where she's constantly, desiring it. And you don't want it to be that she gets with what you get with just because it's a good idea. Like, just because it's a logical reason. No, there's no substitute for good deed guidance. But either way, you have to have some type of way of inserting your masculine energy or sexual energy into a situation to start correcting the dynamic. And if you're unable to do that in an immediate basis, then the only option you have is to pull back. That's the only option you got. Because at that point, communicating is just giving further validation to the disrespect. And it ain't got to be overt. It can be subtle. But it's rewarding that behavior with attention, giving it energy. And sometimes this shit is just a response to you. Let you know, okay, you need to be focused more on your other shit right now. You need to be focused more on your passion. You need to be focused more on your purpose, your responsibilities. Chances are, if you're giving her too much energy, there's some other shit you need to be focused on. So don't even get mad at her about it. Just say, okay, yeah, I gotta take care of some other shit. I mean, this should be too much. Now, once you get to the point where you feel like crossing certain lines that you don't want to cross, that go against your morals and your integrity, that's when you got to walk away, or that's when you got to take a step back for a minute, because that's when you got to do that. But it's a certain level of toxicity, just understanding that relationships, they're dynamic, they're not static. And if you're sitting there waiting around, not leading the relationship, thinking that it's going nowhere, or thinking that, you're just going with the flow, somebody's leading it. And even if it's not her expressly, it could just be her social programming. It could be just she's maybe a people pleaser, and her idea of what a relationship looks like is based on what she sees on social media or what people tell her and all kind of shit like that. So while you may feel like you're just going with the flow, she's really setting up the relationship, slowly edging you around to get to the point of doing the things that she feels satisfy her. And if you don't do it fast enough, then she starts pulling away from you. You got to be able to set the direction for yourself as a man. And part of being toxic is not taking, is to take no answer for an answer, or to take anything but a yes as an answer. Because they say it's not communicating, it's not expressing your needs. It's like, no. If negotiation is coercion, you know what I mean? If discussion, or if telling somebody that they're wrong is gaslighting, right? Or if, letting it be clear that you're not trying to, that you've been doing too much for too long. And that's emotional manipulation or some shit like that. Or blackmail or some shit like that. Then there's different ways of dealing with things. So based off of what the respect level and the desire level that is there, you got to know how to interject ways of repairing the sexual polarity while you're actually in the situation, and not expecting it to be at a peak right before y'all get together, and then when y'all finally get together, it's going to go up for a little while and crash down. You got to know how to sustain it. You got to know how to keep it going forward, and how to improve it further. And some of that's going to be with forks in the road. And sometimes a fork in the road is an ultimatum. People say that's toxic as well. society that if you really want to be, because people say, oh, just whatever happens, happens. No, you got to be intentional with your life and how you run your relationships and how you live and do shit. You can't just be saying whatever happens, happens. And then when that shit don't happen the way you want it to, then now all of a sudden it just wasn't meant to be. Why use that kind of passive planning with your life? It just wasn't meant to be. Decide what you want to do and find ways of making that shit work. And if you feel like you're at a place where you're going to cross certain lines, then that's when it's time to walk away. But you should be able to communicate the things that make you feel that way or don't make you feel that way along the way. But by doing that kind of stuff, you understand toxic masculinity, toxic femininity is. You understand that certain aspects of what are viewed as toxic are